Today I want to talk you through pretty much my whole shoe collection. I've cut down the size of it quite considerably over the years, but I still have quite a few. Probably too many, so keep in mind that not everybody needs as many shoes as this. Fair warning though, my collection is pretty simple, bordering on basic. But that's by design. I want simple, versatile shoes that I can wear with many different outfits and to many different occasions. So if you're looking for the next big shoe trend, you're probably not going to find it in this video. Let's start off with my most obvious ones. You've seen me wear them in pretty much every outfit video this year, the Converse Chuck 70s. I don't know what it is about these, but they just seem to go with everything, especially the high top version. They're at a perfect height on the ankle, so they look good with longer or shorter trousers. The silhouette is really slim due to being mainly canvas, but remember this is the Chuck 70 and not the regular Chuck Taylor. That means the canvas is thicker, they have a nicer insole and also a proper leather patch. I think these small upgrades are worth the price, both in terms of comfort and design. My main piece of advice with Chuck 70s is to get your sizing right. I went true to size. I've worn ones that were slightly too small for me in the past and it was hell. I truly think these are some of the most timeless sneakers you can buy. It's basically been around since the 1920s and people have been loving them ever since. They never go out of fashion, and if I could pick just one sneaker for the rest of my life, it would be the Converse Chuck 70s. Next up are one of my more recent pickups, the Dana Mountain Light boots. My main reason for getting these was that I wanted a more outdoorsy type boot for rainy and colder conditions, but also something that looked good and was wearable with a lot of different clothes. And I think the Mountain Lights tick all of those boxes. I pretty much exclusively wore these last November through to February, and I'm going to be doing the same this year. They have a Gore-Tex lining, so they're completely waterproof, plus some extremely grippy Vibram soles. I got them in the Cascade Clovis leather colour, which I think is the most classic, especially with the red laces that they originally come with. But as you can see, I've been messing around with changing the laces up a bit. These mixed yarn laces are very obviously influenced by the Dior hiking boots, which are yet to be released. I think I just got these laces off some random eBay seller. I'm not sure if I like them though. Let me know what you think in the comments. Sizing wise, these boots are pretty true to size. However, one downside is the break-in period of these, specifically around the heel area. My heels got tore up even when wearing thick socks, but like most shoes, this goes away after a few wears. And they are honestly so comfortable now. Another small downside is the RRP, which is a little high, even though I'd say mostly worth it given that they're made in the USA from good quality materials. But me being frugal, I would always wait for a sale, and you can often find these at a discount. I remember someone claiming that I only got these because of the hype and I wouldn't like them in a year's time. Well, they're no longer hyped, it's been over a year and I still love them. So, ha! Now, one thing I've been really trying to improve on recently is my video scripting and editing, and thankfully today's video sponsor Skillshare has me covered. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration, design, freelance, productivity, and many more. For example, a class I'm particularly interested in is from one of the most successful creators on YouTube, Marques Brownlee. He's got an 11-part series on how to research and write a compelling script to hook your audience, plus a look behind the curtain at how he sets up and records his own videos. Then I can jump over to Ali's 34-part series on how to pull it all together in Final Cut Pro, where he deep dives into everything from color grading and background music to the use of trim deletes and the Ken Burns effect. Skillshare also offers learning paths, which are curated sequential class collections that allow you to master a specific skill or competency by breaking it down into manageable steps, from beginner level all the way up to expert. It's helping me take this hobby of mine to the next level, and it can do the same for you. The first 500 people to use my link in the description box below will receive a 1-month free trial to Skillshare, so get started today, and thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Okay, the next shoes on this list are going to be the Doc Martens Adrian loafers. If you're subscribed to my channel, you might have noticed that these are probably my most worn shoe after the Chuck 70s. I love that juxtaposition of wearing them with some casual jeans, and I think the shape of that chunky sole really helps with that. And of course they go extremely well in a smarter outfit as well. But because of the famous Doc Marten yellow stitching, they have a subtle fun element to them. And these are probably my most complimented shoe. They're a great conversation icebreaker if that's something that interests you. Those of you with a keen eye might have noticed that these are the Made in England version. I haven't actually owned the non-Made in England version of these particular shoes, but I did have the non-English 1460s and can tell you there's a noticeable difference in the leather feel, and I'd definitely have paid more to upgrade to this leather. Rose Anvil also did some in-depth testing to confirm the better quality construction of the English made version. So make of that what you will, but I just have a love of things that are still made in the UK. They fit true to size, but there's a bit of a break-in period, especially around the heel, just like those Dana boots. But after that, they're really comfortable and wearable. Next up is a fairly recent pickup, the Solitaire Gibson shoes. I initially got these purely for work to wear in the office or any meetings where I needed to look smart, but they've become one of my favourite casual shoes as well. Just like the Doc Marten loafers, I love that juxtaposition of wearing them with something casual. A lot of you probably already know this, but Solitaire originally manufactured shoes for Doc Martens, and so they still have a lot of the same features, such as those chunky gummy soles and a lot of the same looking silhouettes. So these are basically the 1461 equivalent, except they're made in England of better quality leather, and yet they're still priced almost the same. I went for the high shine leather because I love that polished look, and I went true to size. Solitaire have a detailed size guide with actual measurements on your website if you're not too sure. Next up, yep, I'm still wearing them, the Adidas Samba. In my opinion, another timeless sneaker since it's been around for so long and yet people aren't sick of them. There was a huge spike in hype for these around 2 years ago, and I definitely followed the trend by picking them up, but even though the hype has died down a lot, I still enjoy them and wear them all the time, especially during summer since they're pretty much my only white sneakers. They're also just lightweight and comfortable. I went true to size and they fit great. My only tiny regret, if you can even call it that, is the colour I went for. Don't get me wrong, I love the green stripes, but if I could start again, I'd probably have got them in the black stripe to make them even more versatile, or maybe even a white stripe if that exists. Of course, if you want a more elevated version of these, then try the Maison Margiela replicas. They're both based on the German army trainer design, so pretty much the same shoes. But the Margiela replicas are of course going to be way more luxurious in terms of materials and construction. Next are my most recent purchase, and you may have caught a glimpse of them in my last Instagram post, the Redwing Blacksmith boots. Some of you might have watched my recent video about clothing regrets, and I included the Redwing mock toes in that list. What I didn't tell you is that behind the scenes I'd already purchased these blacksmith boots as a sort of replacement. I've liked the look of an old style work boot for a long time. I was intrigued by the Viberg service boots but wasn't too keen on the price. And then I stumbled upon these blacksmith boots from Redwing. I sat on them for a while to make sure I actually liked them, and I came to the conclusion that I did have room for a boot like this in my rotation. Rugged but also kind of smart looking. They can be worn with workwear or a suit, and I have worn them both ways. They're in the Briar Oil Slick Leather colour, which is a stunning reddish brown. Nowhere near the redness of the Oro Legacy mock toes though, which I was thankful for. I also find these way more comfortable than the mock toes. The leather seems softer and more forgiving. I picked them up in my true size, but they were slightly too big for me. However, I've just popped in an insole and now they fit me perfectly. But yeah, if you don't want to use an insole, I'd say go half a size down. I managed to pick these up for £125 on Vinted, and they're basically brand new, so a bit of a bargain. Overall, these are beautiful boots, well made in the USA, and I've already worn them more times in the past few months than I did in years of owning the mock toes. Next on the list are my Chisos #1 Western boots in the brushed brown colour. Regular viewers will know of my love towards Western style pieces over the past few years, so these boots were a natural choice. They're one of the better quality Western boots out there, and I only know that because of Rose Anvil yet again. He's the guy to go to if you're looking to buy some spendy shoes and want to know if they're actually worth it. The answer is, yes they are. The cowhide leather is good quality, durable, super supple, and has beautiful artwork all over it. I was surprised at just how comfortable these boots are as well. They have soft insoles that mold to your feet. I went true to size and they fit perfectly. You can also get them in different widths, which is really helpful. These are certainly my most occasional shoes. I don't wear them as often as I'd like, although I have no doubt they'd work well as a daily boot. Here's another shoe you'll have seen me wearing a lot over the years, the New Balance 991s. And I've just realised there's an updated version of these now, so I guess these are the V1s. I've talked about these a lot in the past, so I won't spend too much time on them here. But essentially I had two slim sneakers in the Chuck 70s and Sambas, and I wanted something a little bit chunkier. And these have proven to pair especially well with my baggier pants. I wouldn't say they're timeless like my other sneakers, but they have been around for many years and they still look good. New Balance in general have had a huge few years. They went from a bit of a niche shoe to something that is now very mainstream and loved, so I think they'll be around for a while, especially the OG shapes like the 991, 992 and 990. Apart from the dad shoe shape, I just love this colour as well. I believe the full name is 991 GL. It's a greenish grey. Also, they're one of the only models that is made in the UK, which is a nice little detail. Next up are going to be my R Legacy camion boots. Full disclosure, I had no intention on picking these up, even though I've always admired them. I felt like I had enough boots that filled this space, but when I found a brand new pair for less than half price just sitting on eBay, it seemed like a sign, and they've become an absolute staple for me over the years. They're different to everything else I have in my collection, with that square toe design and no laces. I tend to wear them when I'm trying to look a little classier, with a pair of trousers or white denim and a shirt, but they work just as well as a casual boot as well. They're insanely comfortable, easily the most comfortable shoe on the list. They're made from Italian calf leather, which is really soft and supple, and they have a side zip which makes them very easy to put on, plus it's just a nice extra detail. The vibrant sole makes them very wearable in different conditions as well because they're super grippy. For sizing, I found them to be quite generous, and I think it's because of that square toe box. I went true to size but feel like half a size down would have been fine as well. Okay, last up are going to be my Solitaire Astronaut boots. You heard me earlier talking about the Doc Marten 1460s that I used to have, and I loved those boots. I had them for over 10 years, but I finally decided it was time to replace them and opted for the Astronauts because they were a little taller. These are 11 eyelets, and I think this gives them a more militant look, which is what I was going for. Also, the toe box is narrow and flat rather than wide and round like the Docs. And of course, being Solitaires, they're made in England and don't cost much more than the Docs. In fact, I got these as a factory second because they had a tiny scratch on them, so I got them for quite cheap. I opted for the high shine, just like my other Solitaires. I've worn these boots a lot and haven't had any issues with the high shine so far, although I've heard they're not as durable as regular leather, so we'll see what happens. Like a lot of my other boots, I find that I can wear these in smart or casual outfits. I went down half a size on these, but as I said earlier, Solitaire have a great size guide, so check it out before buying. So that's my collection at the moment, although I do still feel like I could add one or two more. Perhaps a slimmer and more refined pair of smarter shoes. I do have the Docs and Solitaires, but they're quite chunky. Also, maybe a pair of active type sneakers that I can wear for longer walks or activities in poorer weather. Just so I'm not limited to my Dana Mountain Light boots, which can be a bit heavyweight. But these are just wants, not needs. I certainly don't need them, and if I got them, they would just be luxury pickups. But anyway, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.